So I'm a pastor who's not sure if God exists. So how does that work, and why am I still a pastor? Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. So I know a lot of pastors. I've talked to a lot of them, thousands now. And the real truth is that a lot of them feel the same way, but they're not comfortable with saying it out loud because they're afraid that they'd lose their jobs and, their livelihood and their families would be in jeopardy. But how does it work with me? Well, for me, the answer is pretty easy. I'm a deep skeptic, which means that I try to base all of my beliefs off of data. And the data that you get about whether or not God exists is often experiential. And when you're looking for reliable data about that, it comes from the field of religion. Now, I'm never like 100% sure or 100% not sure. I waver back and forth, but in the deepest times of being unsure and doubting whether or not God exists, I always come back to one really important piece of data, and that is throughout all of human history, all of humankind have believed in some sort of deity or spirituality. Like 99.99% of humans ever have believed that. And I can have a big ego at times, but it's not big enough for me to deny and say that I have some sort of insight that almost every human who has ever existed disagrees with. So as far as practicing spirituality and religion, that's a little bit different, and it is, of course, data-driven. There's been really fantastic research done on the benefits of really healthy spirituality and spiritual practices. One of the best books that you can look at is by Dr. Lisa Miller, incredibly reputable scholar in the world of psychology. It's called The Awakened Brain. But there are all kinds of fantastically positive benefits as far as feeling like you can cope with stress and all kinds of that, and even physical benefits to spiritual practice. And so practicing spirituality is really good and really healthy. So what about being a pastor? Well, that's where it gets really cool for me because being a pastor isn't just about telling people what to believe. In fact, that's really an unhealthy practice as a pastor. What I was trained in as a pastor is a couple of things. One of them is just being there for people in really difficult times and offering that grounding and support when things are going crazy, when you are struggling with your beliefs, struggling with your family. I'm not a therapist, but I am part of forming a community of support. And that's really helpful. The other role of a pastor, and remember, it's not telling people what to believe, it's helping people find the spiritual beliefs and practices that work for them. And by that I mean that help them become the best version of themselves, that help them find a purpose greater than themselves, and help them experience transcendence. And that also is really, really healthy. Because the reality is, nobody, even the most dogmatic people, don't believe absolutely everything exactly the way their pastor or their tradition says that they should believe. Everybody selects spiritual beliefs and practices that work for them, whether or not they're willing to admit it. And for me, I get to do this right here online. I get to help you understand the ancient spiritual texts that I have been trained in the Bible, and I can help people find those beliefs and practices. I also have an online community that I run called Not Church, and you can find that where you find things here on social media. It's a community of love and support that is really there for each other, like church, except there's no judgment there. There's people of all kinds of spiritual identities and non-identities, and I love that place. And the other thing I get to do with all of you is have pastoral conversations like you would in a pastor's office, except it's via Zoom. And again, you can find that where you find the things on social media. But that is my role. And whether or not I am in a high state of belief about whether or not God exists or a low state of belief about whether or not God exists, all of that training to be there for people and to help people navigate spirituality, I use every single day to help all kinds of people all over the world.